So what happened in your sophomore year? There was a change that happened.
My guidance counselor put me in the fashion program here, and I took the class. And the very first day, as soon as my teacher started talking about all the creative abilities and the things that we can do and the things that she'd let us do, and just when I went home, I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I take this last year? Where has this been? And it it just it was great just to know that I can express how I feel in school. I can do what I want to do. I can use my mind. There's no boundaries. And that's what I really liked about it.
Very interesting. So what happened to your approach to school? Did you change your approach in other classes?
After that, after they were giving career choices and she was talking about what could happen in the fashion industry, then I realized that schools aren't going to want me. Schools aren't going to look at me if I don't step it up. Like, yes, I have a 90 in fashion, but I need to have a 90 in history. I need to have a 90 in reading. And although bringing grades up was what I wanted, it wasn't enough. I wanted to be as good as I was in fashion and everything else. Fashion gave me a drive in general. It just, like, if I got a test grade and it wasn't good enough, I'd say, well, what happened? Why can't I go back and make it better? Like, I just started caring about everything.
So do you think that fashion gave you a sense of what you wanted to do in the future, but also made you feel better about yourself?
Yes.
Did you think that you could do just as well in the other subjects?
I thought that this is what I need to do. It became, at first it was that's what I need to do, and then I actually wanted to, so it crossed over. And it started getting serious and it started getting emotional, and everything else started to matter and everything else started to become, well, I want to do good.
Great. Did your teachers notice a change?
In the end of 10th grade and when I first started 11th grade, yes, they noticed the change, because some teachers I didn't have until 2 years after or before that, but between 9th grade, because a lot of this year I've had teachers from 9th grade, and that's probably the best to have from 9th to 12th grade, because then they see the real difference from when I started out to when I'm finishing.
So you had, for instance, your English teacher in 9th grade who you actually liked his class, right?
Yes.
And you had him again as a senior.
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of things was he noticing in you as a senior now?
He told me when I was in 9th grade and I came into his class, I just looked like I hated everybody. I was so miserable. I didn't want to be there. But he knows that I did show the effort, but it wasn't clicking. It wasn't full potential. That's what I always had on my report card, my progress report, not working to potential, because it was always just down here. They knew I had it in me. I knew I had it in me, but there wasn't anything that made me take it to the full potential.
So what did he notice in your senior class?
He noticed that if he asked me to do something, I was on top of it. I asked him when he needed it, how he needed it. If he asked me for a resume, I hand it in the next day. I don't wait, I don't delay. I don't make jokes or games or anything of my schoolwork when it comes to class or homework. I get it done.
What happened to your circle of friends? The kids you were fooling around with in freshman
Those.
year?
Yeah.
Did you make any changes with your group of friends?
I had a broad circle in 9th grade because that's when I first came to this school. I had a broad circle. And suddenly the ones that were the bad seeds that I was getting into trouble with, not saying they got me into trouble because I was responsible, but the ones that I was getting into trouble with, kind of slowly, I kind of like contracted from them.
Mm-hmm.
And the other ones that were always there, I started to lean on towards their side more. And surprisingly, those were the same people that were interested in the same thing I was interested in. Like, a lot of my friends that I talk to now actually want to go to fashion school and have a lot of things in common with me, and we talk about art and music and stuff like that.
Great.
And the bad seeds are still the bad seeds, so I'm glad I got out of that one.
Well, I'm glad you did too. You had a wonderful opportunity to go to meet Michelle Obama when she invited your fashion classes to go and watch her dress from the inauguration be donated Tell us about the trip and what that meant to you.
It wasn't really a starstruck kind of thing. It was more of an honorable kind of thing because I just hold so much respect for her, and the fact that she could have just looked at the pictures and said, oh, okay, because she has a lot of things to do. I'm pretty sure she's a busy woman, but the fact that she went back into her mind and she remembered us and she thought of us when she was going to donate the dress, it meant a lot to me. I've took it personal, and I was very honored, and I was ecstatic to be there.
That's great. And what during the trip was helpful to you as you were thinking ahead to your future pursuits?
We met a lot of people, but the most interesting jobs or career choice that they were talking of was the museum curator, the one that set up the displays in the museum and the one that took care of everything and the one that made sure that everything's in the right place, and that really stuck with me.
So what kind of a career path are you interested in because of that?
I'm going for visual merchandising, like window displays and props. It's basically the same kind of idea. I'm almost certain that you would go to school for something like that. If you wanted to be a museum curator, you'd have to do visual merchandising.
Excellent.
So I'm trying to follow in the footsteps.